As you can tell by the title of the video, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you the tips and tricks that have helped me make $2,700 on both Poshmark and Mecari during the pandemic, quarantine, just by selling things that are in my closet, my beauty room, just basically getting rid of clutter. But it also ended up earning me over $2,700. So I'm going to share with you the tips and tricks and just kind of the differences and what has helped me sell on both Poshmark and Mecari. I'm also going to be kind of discussing the differences between Poshmark and Mecari. So this is definitely going to be a video you're going to want to grab a little snack, get you a little drink, and we're going to talk about making some extra coins. So if you want to know my top 5 tips and tricks for turning your closet into some cash, keep watching. Before we get into today's video, make sure you're subscribed to my channel by hitting that subscribe button as well as turning your post notifications on. So every time I upload a video, you'll get a little notification. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram, I say this in almost all my videos. I don't know why not, so go ahead and do that as well. Let's get right into today's video. These are just my opinions. I'm going to show you what I've made. I'm going to post screenshots when we get to that part of the video. So this is just basically my opinion, my tips and tricks, what has helped me sell. And so let's get into the difference between Poshmark and Mecari. They're both apps and websites that you can sell your gently used items on for free, basically. You post your listings for free, and then both sites, both apps, take a fee when you sell your item. So the difference between Poshmark and Mecari to me is Poshmark is all apparel and accessories. There's no kind of genre for electronics or anything like that, which on Mecari you actually can sell household items, furniture. You can basically sell everything on Mecari, where Poshmark kind of just focuses on used apparel, luxury handbags, shoes, accessories, basically your closet, whereas Mecari could be your bathroom, your beauty room, your house, your garage, anything you're trying to get rid of. And when I say beauty, what I mean is a lot of times, if you're a beauty shopper like I am, you might shop on a website and it'll come with like a 7 free piece gift set. Or if you shop Ulta, a lot of times if you spend a certain amount of money with one brand, you get a free palette or a free this or a free that. So kind of like accumulate a lot of free palettes, free different products that I may have doubles of. I may already have the product. It may be like a color palette that's just not for me, things like that. So those are the things that I post on Mecari. Although you can post makeup on Poshmark, I feel like Poshmark's consumers and users are there for apparel, accessories, shoes, handbags. They're not really there for beauty, whereas Mecari has more of a beauty. There's a lot more beauty on there. There's a lot more healthcare on there. So I feel like that's kind of where I immediately know what goes to Mecari and what goes to Poshmark. But like I said, you definitely can post beauty items on Poshmark. I just feel like people are looking for them more so on Mecari than they are on Poshmark. I really wanted to do this video in the beginning as we're going into a new season, because one of my favorite things to do, and it's not even one of my favorite things to do, but something I just do habitually, is every time the seasons change, I go through my wardrobe, I go through my closets, I go through my beauty stuff, I go through it all every time the seasons change, and I kind of pick out what I'm not going to wear, what I'm not going to need, what I'm going to donate, and then the things that are like brand new, gently used, are things that I decide to post to either Poshmark or Mecari. So being that we're going into fall, it's perfect time for me to get rid of a lot of things. So I thought, instead of just posting this stuff, why don't I make a video and kind of let you guys know the best way to turn your closet into money. Like I said, this year alone, I've made about $2,700 in the first half of the year just by going through my closets during the spring. I just like using it when I clean out my closets, clean out my beauty stuff. It's a great way to make extra cash on top of the things that I donate, rather than just, you know, have a whole bunch of clutter. And I always feel like if you get rid of stuff and you make some money getting rid of it, you can buy new stuff. So my first tip is probably the most important tip and one of the most obvious tips, but it's to have really good photos of whatever it is that you're selling. You don't want a blurry photo. You want really good, clear photos. And you want up close photos of the details, whether it be the price tag, if the tags are included, the size tag. You kind of would just want to give your buyers and those interested as much visual information as possible. Because a lot of people on these sites, yeah, we write descriptions, but you're not really going to read the description. You're going to see what you like, kind of just like in the store, and go to it. So you want to make sure that your pictures are really a great representation of whatever the item is that you're selling. And I feel like the better your pictures, the more appealing they are and the more attracting they're going to be to potential buyers. So make sure you kind of have a clear background. It just focuses on the item. If you have a picture of the item in use to kind of show length or anything like that, just get very, very detailed with your product images. I feel like that'll get you a super long way because, like, let's be honest, we're on these apps scrolling and looking. We're not really reading the words. We're not, you know what I mean? We're just scrolling and looking. So you want to make sure that your item looks great and is like one of the first items, if not the first item, somebody clicks on when they type in that specific item into the search bar. My next tip is to have a very thorough, intensive, transparent description. Give all the item details you possibly can in the description. One of my tips within a tip for this is if you're looking for things like the length of a bag, the depth of a bag, like those sort of measurements, you can always find them on, well, you usually can always find them on the brand's website, Google. There's definitely ways to get a description and just copy and paste, but you kind of want to be very thorough and transparent since these may be used items, gently used items. You want to let people know what they come with. If it's a bag, for example, does it come with the dust bag? Does it come with the original box? Has it been worn? Is there any, you want to give all of those details behind the picture. You really want to let them be clear and known in the description so that when people are reading your listing, they don't have questions and they're more inclined to just hit buy now rather than message the seller and maybe ask you things like how deep is the bag? How long is the shoulder strap? So these are things that you can put in your description to actually get your sale done quicker and faster because you're answering people's questions before they even have the chance to ask them. Of course, people ask questions even when you post all the details, so I'm not saying that if you make a very thorough description and have great pictures, someone's not going to ask you a question that you've clearly answered in the description. But what I am saying is it makes it a lot easier for the buyer to just press buy now, get their item out to them, rather than have to go back and forth with the seller to ask questions that you could just put the information, you could just go ahead and put that information in the description. So that's my second tip, to have a very thorough, well-written, transparent description of your item. You just want to answer people's questions before they ask them. That's like one of my favorite things to do. Just answer somebody's question before they ask them, because then they're like, whoa, how did that person know I was going to ask that? And then it's like now all of a sudden you have a mysterious magical power, but in real life, that's my little life trick. Just to let, you know, if anybody wants to use it, answer questions before people can ask them. My third tip is something that happens to work for me. Like I said in the beginning of this video, these are my tips and tricks, my opinions, so everybody might not agree with it, but I think this is pretty important. I think having competitive pricing on your item is super important. And don't sell yourself short. If your item's new with tags, definitely get yourself a little bit more coin. It hasn't even been worn. But if your item is on the more used side, gently used side, just kind of scroll through Poshmark and Mecari and see what other people are listing that item in that condition for. Because you definitely want to make your item pop, but you do want to get as much for your item as you can, but you don't want to overprice your item and just have people keep scrolling. On both sites, they definitely allow buyers to offer you an amount less than what you have your item listed at, and then you have the option whether or not to accept the offer or counter that offer. But I definitely think you should price your items within the realm of others. Because, I mean, it's Poshmark. So if you're looking for a black Gucci wallet and I have one for $500, this person has one for $200, and it's exactly the same condition, you're going to go with the $200 wallet. So I lose out because I didn't post mine for a more reasonable price, like $300 or $250, where you could have offered me something in between, or you could have just bought my item. So I think it's super important to check the pricing of your item and kind of get your pricing idea from there. Mercari does have a tool where once you kind of plug in all the things for your item, when you get to price, it shows you what other people have that item listed as, and it kind of shows you a scale of the higher end listings and the lower end listings, what sells quicker and what's taking longer to sell. So that's a really helpful tool on Mercari. So you kind of just have to like make your own on Poshmark. So I just like to scroll through whatever item I'm about to list. I see if they have any on Poshmark in the same condition, and I go from there. So having a good price of an item will definitely get your item sold faster, but it doesn't mean list a $500 bag for $40 so you'll sell it faster. Come on, sis. No. We need all our coins. It just means be realistic when pricing your item. My fourth tip is to have a really good rating on the app as a seller. And there's a lot of different things and components that go into what gets you a really good rating. I'm going to throw up screenshots of mine. I believe I'm like a 4.8 star rated seller on Poshmark, and I think I'm a 4 or 5 star seller on Mercari. So both apps use a star rating system, and at the time of delivery of your item, your buyer then has the chance to rate you as a seller. So your rating is super important because if you're trying to sell a high price item, some people may be leery. Even though it's 2020 and we buy everything over the internet, people still are a little skeptical about buying things from other people, especially the higher price the item. So it's super important to have a really good rating on these apps because buyers look at that. Buyers can go through your profile. Buyers can actually filter out items from top rated sellers. So it's super important. Now, I say that's important, but the things that go into becoming a top rated seller, what has worked for me is definitely fast shipping. I would say that's number one, is to have fast shipping. Your buyer is gonna rate you 5 stars if they place the order on Tuesday and they get a shipping notification Wednesday that the item has shipped out. And the buyer gets a notification as soon as USPS scans that item. So they're already thinking like, wow, I just ordered this item yesterday and already it's on its way. So you've already made a really great impression in that buyer's mind. Packaging your item as well can definitely add to your seller's rating. You don't want to just like throw a high-end item in a box, or any item for that matter in a box, a fragile item. You don't want to, you know what I mean? You really want to present. I'm not saying go crazy and buy tissue paper and make it like when Bergdorf Goodman sends you something in the mail. I just mean you want to package it nicely. I like to leave little notes, thanks for your purchase. And it's just something to go a little extra mile, and it's going to help you in the end because the buyer is more than likely going to give you a great review, a great rating. I think fast shipping is probably the easiest way to get to a 5-star rating. I feel like fast shipping is the easiest way because literally when the item is delivered, the buyer gets a notification to rate their delivery so that you can receive your funds. So I feel like when the item gets there super quick, people are like, 5 stars. This got here quick. But also keep in mind that your rating will come from the items that you're selling. So if you list something as pristine condition and in real life, it's like, it's on its last legs, like it shouldn't even be for sale, and the buyer receives it and they're like, okay, I'm going to accept it. I'm not going to, you know, send it back, but I'm definitely going to give a 1-star rating because it's not as described. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. But having a really good seller rating just kind of gives people like a little bit of trust. Like, wow, this person has sold this many items and has this many reviews and this many stars. So that's really important. My 5th and final tip is for items that you posted to your closets and they're just sitting there. They haven't moved in a while. you just haven't sold them. So my tip with items that don't sell is to relist. You can always relist or reactivate your listing after a certain amount of time. On Poshmark, when you relist your item, it will actually put it higher up in the feed than it once was. It'll like relist it as a newer item. Whereas Mercari, it gives you a certain amount of time, and if your listing does not sell, it will give you the option to reactivate your listing. So those are definitely things you want to do. Don't get discouraged like, oh, my item didn't sell or my item isn't selling. Also can offer discounts to your likers of the item. People can like your item, just like a picture on Instagram, and then you're able to offer a private discount to those people. So that's definitely a great way to get your item sold, because you know these people are interested in that particular product. They have looked at it. For whatever reason, they haven't bought it. It may be a financial reason. It may be they just found something different, or they were just saving it for future reference. But if you go ahead and send them a little private offer with a discount, and they may be like, oh wow, I actually forgot about that item, and now they're like, you know what? With that discount, I'm gonna buy it. I deserve it. So that's probably my last tip. And like I said, that really applies to, I mean, it doesn't only have to apply to things that aren't selling. If you do see an item that maybe you've listed for a very fair price and it has an extremely amount of likers, but there hasn't been any offers and it hasn't been sold, you can offer the likers a small discount. It doesn't have to be anything crazy that you're going to take a huge loss, and see if your item will sell that way. I suggest offering the discount to the likers rather than just lowering your listing price at first, because your likers are an audience that you already know are interested in that product. So that's the group of people who were looking for that product, searching for that product, want that product. If you just lower the price all over, I don't know. That's just my tip. Those are my tips and tricks on how to make the most money selling things from your closet on Poshmark and Mecari. If you don't already have a Poshmark or a Mercari account, I am going to leave my links down below. You can go ahead and click them, set up an account. Both apps will give you a $10 bonus for signing up with my links below. I mean, you might as well sign up and list some stuff. Like if you've never sold on one of these apps and you have like a closet full of clutter, listen, just go through it, post some stuff. It takes like 2 seconds. And see, you never know. Like, you know what I mean? You never know. If you liked this video, make sure you're hitting that like button as well as subscribing to my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.